Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. Before I show this video, I want to share this card. That was actually given to me um, by Mandy Schneider, and she sent me a catalog and gave me this really cute card, so I wanted to share it with you. This is actually the second layout I'm making for my December project gift thing. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, go back about 2 videos and you'll be able to see where I introduced it. And then the last video I posted was actually the first layout that goes with this project. So this is the second layout, like I mentioned, and I'm using the photo I took of my sister and her son when they were actually at the hospital right after he was born. And this is my nephew, Walter. So I've got this photo, and then I had another photo that you originally saw where it just shows kind of like the baby stats. It was a picture of the end of his, I don't think it's called their incubator or their little crib bassinet thing that they put him in at the hospital. So I'm just kind of fiddling around with the papers here, trying to figure out which one I want to use. And I end up settling on a blue tone-on-tone, triangle print, which is this one right there at the very back. And then I'm messing around with this vellum piece that has cutie pie, sweetie, precious baby, all of that. And I'm not going to end up using this. So I go quite a ways with it though. And then I end up just stopping because it's not working. I was trying to cut out some of the words, but it's hard to see them, and then I couldn't cut them quite straight. I was just really struggling, but I really like that acetate piece, so I really wanted to use it. It's not even really acetate. It's like a thick plastic. But as you can see, I keep looking here trying to figure it out, and then I think I'll use the certain word, but then it may have an ascender or a descender, the letters like the A's or the P's. Not the A's, the P's or the D's or the G's that go up or down. But I was having a really hard time trimming those out without being able to see the other words. And so I was going to layer them on top of this little heart card. And like I said, you're going to see me change my mind here in a moment. Excuse me. And this is where I decided to change my background paper too. Just going to trim off the border here, and this is a Studio Calico paper. This is an old one that I've had in my stash for quite some time. My paper trimmer needs to be replaced, so I had to kind of trim up the edges where I had trimmed off that side part of my or the little manufacturer strip off that 12 by 12 paper. Just trim my photo down a little bit to get kind of some of the background images off, and also to center my nephew's photo right there my nephew in the photo. I believe I mentioned this in the last video. I'm actually struggling doing these layouts. You would think that they'd be a lot easier than what they are, but I've had a hard time getting in the groove. And I think it's because these are not layouts that I'm going to keep. These are layouts that are a gift for someone, and so it's a bit difficult for me to figure out what they might like. Excuse me, or what their style may be. I have not seen her scrapbook album actually ever, probably, and so I'm really struggling with what I like versus what she may like, and I probably would do better off just focusing on what I think looks good, and then it'll flow a little bit easier. And later on in these layouts, I seem to be able to get my groove a little bit, but it took me quite some time to get there, even though this layout only took an hour, a little over an hour to complete. I think it was like an hour and 1 minute or something like that. So obviously the layout came together pretty quickly. As you saw, I trimmed out these little elephants. It may seem really random, but my sister always, we each kind of had an animal or a thing that we collected when we were little, and elephants were my sister's things. So I had these little elephants on this baby themed paper, so I trimmed out a couple of them, and I'm going to use them in a few different layouts just to kind of mimic, what her childhood collecting item was. I'm going to map my nephew's photo on a piece of white cardstock, or the back side of a patterned paper rather, that's white. I like to do that. I go through my scraps and sometimes pull out some of the ones that have just white patterns on the back and use those instead of continuing to keep the paper in my scrap bin. I have a piece of this baby blue corrugated paper, and it was like perfect. It was almost the exact size I needed, and I'm just going to use it to mat under the photo. And that's pretty much how the photo is going to stay matted. I like that the corrugated piece gives a bit of dimension to the photo without actually really having to add any foam squares. Trimming out another little elephant here, and it's going to go on top of the little baby stats card. And what that says is it says baby boy stats, and it has a place for age, height, weight, personality, and length. And I'll let my sister fill that out. I'm really trying not to add much journaling to these. I want it to be in her handwriting and, you know, from her point of view. So I'm putting that on here for her to fill out. And I ended up just trimming out this heart. So I have the other photo, like I said, of his crib that they give him at the hospital, and I just cut out the part that is the bottom of their or like his little label on the crib, and I'm going to put that on a piece of white as well, just backing that on that white piece. And it's not cut to a perfect square, but I just cut it to the size of the label, and I'm going to layer that kind of under my photo. And that actually has most of his stats on it anyways. And that heart was just a cross-stitch heart pattern that was on that not 4x6, it was on a 3x4 card. I have this really pretty kind of teal, it's got a little bit of green tones in it, but it's really kind of a bluish green ribbon. It's from American Crafts. I love that ribbon pack that you can get. It's been at TJ Maxx or Tuesday Morning. You see it all the time at those places. So my mom actually picked up a couple packs and gave them to me, and they've got different tones in them. I've actually used a lot of them. So I really like just kind of what it brings to this layout. There's not a whole lot of embellishment that you'll see me adding to the layout, so it's nice to kind of have one large strip across the bottom. It adds a bit of grounding to the layout without really adding too much weight to the layout. Now, I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to add any other layers, so I stuck all those pieces together in the middle of the layout, but I haven't stuck it to the back side yet. This little sticker that I'm adding just says baby, and then I add another one that's just a star over there on the stats card. Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what I was doing. So whenever I take stickers or things out of their packaging, I write what it is on the back of the sticker sheet, and then I usually throw the packaging away. It's just easier to use it in my stash when it's just a sticker sheet instead of like having to take it out of the plastic acetate package. I just keep them separate. So anytime I depackage something, I write what it is on the back side so I know. Looking through a couple different things, and I settle on this stamp set, and I have no idea where it's from. It's one of my very first stamp sets that I purchased before I was really doing scrapbooking or anything, and I threw the whole packaging away. Didn't even write what it was or anything. So I have these little footprints, and I'm going to stamp them out in a Stampin' Up! Ink, and then I'm going to cut them out, trim them out, and I'm going to put them up there beside the little label that has about his birth stats. And then I'm adding in these fancy pants letters, I'm adding the title, which is just Baby Walter. And it's so, I think this picture's kind of funny actually now looking on it, because he looks nothing like that. He has dark hair in this picture, and now he has blonde hair. Obviously he's very swollen, just like many babies are when they're born. It's just really funny because that's not what he looks like now. But hey, that was him as a baby. That was his first couple moments in this world. I believe this is, if I remember correctly, he was born around 1 a.m. or so. Aha, I was right. It says 1:14 a.m. So he was born in the middle of the night, and this picture was taken the next afternoon. And that's when I had my son, who was like a year and a half. Yeah, I think he was about a year and a half. Kaylin was about a year and a half. So I didn't actually take him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to be at the hospital with her whenever he was born like I really wanted to. But I had to stay home with my son and then my dad at the time. So, because I was at my mom's house when he was born. So at least was in the same town versus not being in the same town. I try to put these word stickers down here, and I made them into stickers because I put them through my brother's sticker maker. And I just don't like it. They're just not very legible on the background because of the pattern. So I decided to mat it on some white cardstock, and I'm just going to see if that works any better. And I don't like that either. I'm just debating back and forth. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I like it? Do I not like it? But they're going to end up coming up. And this is where I'm kind of rubbing the adhesive up, and I'm just going to take them up. That is really good. The good thing about it, you can remove these. Now, if you keep it there for too long, it will stick. But I kind of manipulated them a bit so they weren't too sticky yet. And so I'm going to add a little phrase on here on my own. Boy, it looks like I'm like erasing the crap out of this paper. I'm just making sure the adhesive's off. That's all. And this is sped up ×4, so it's really not that. I'm not being that aggressive with the eraser like it appears. So I'm going to use some Webster Pages little tile alphas. I'm going to put cute baby boy, and then I'm going to stamp out I think it's a hexagon. Is it a hexagon when it has 6 sides? I think it is. I'm going to stamp out a stamp in the same Stampin' Up! Ink that I'm going to use for the footprints, and it's going to say sweet, absolutely adorable. I'm adding just a few more elements here and there. I have a little blue checkered banner that I'm adding right there under the heart. And then I added the other side of it over on the opposite side of that cluster, right on top of the elephant, layered under the elephant, but right above the elephant. And this is where I'm putting baby boy, and then I add cute right above it. These Webster's Pages alphas are really nice. They're not cut the best, but I have no problem trimming the letters as I use them, and it's only like half the sheet that's not cut properly. But they're a perfect size, and you get a ton of letters on this alpha sheet. It's much better than like the Studio Calico tile letters, which I really like those tile letters, but you don't get as much as what you really need. This is where I'm going back to those. You can see I've used it a lot. I've actually used up certain letters. Like I don't think I have any more I's. And I was trying to see if I could manipulate the letters a bit, so I don't have any E's either. So I took an F and I made it into an E. So I'm going to put cute baby boy. And I forgot I had even done that. Obviously it worked well enough that you can't tell from the layout, because I did this layout not too terribly long ago, but long enough ago that I had forgotten, and you can't see it by just looking at it. So this is the stamps that I'm using with the hexagon pattern. I believe it's a Pebbles. I really want to say Pebbles stamp set, but the reason I purchased it is because I wanted some smaller stamps to use in my Project Life albums, and it just so happens that they are also really good sizes to use on scrapbook layouts. And the stamp wasn't stamping very smoothly, so I just used my eraser to kind of prime the stamp, and I stamp it out a bunch of different times here, and then I just use one of them. Just stamped it on white cardstock, and I trimmed it out, and that's where it's going to go. And it kind of, it's the same tones that are in the elephants and also in the Baby Walter title. I've got a lot of teals and blues going on here, so I wanted to make sure that it all kind of coincided. So I stamp out this footprint, and I put it right on the background paper, and I don't like it. So I stamped it out on white cardstock, and I'm going to cut it out and put it right on top of where I stamped it on the background. It just is darker on the background than it is on the white cardstock. So that's the reason I choose to layer over it. I'm finding that these layouts are less embellished than I would normally do, but you can also see that in my still shots at the end. I typically embellish my own layouts just a little bit more, but like I said, I've struggled to find a balance between what my style is and what I think she would enjoy. So anyways, I have a lot more layouts to come for this gift, and I also plan to do the same thing for my other sister. It probably won't be until January, February, but I do plan to do that for her as well, just because I think it's a really nice thing to be able to give someone who values things like scrapbooks and albums and all of that. So anyways, I'm going to put some still photos of this layout at the end, so stay tuned if you'd like to see those. Also, please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe so you can see what else I have to come. All right, guys, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.